Sanjeev Sanyal, welcome to the Ranveer Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
You just told me not to get intimidated by you before we began shooting. I want to know why you said that.
No, people are way too deferential, sir, etc. in these kinds of things. So I said, please don't be deferential.
Honestly, you're one of the widest spectrum of personalities. Like you have one of the most elaborate kind of knowledge sets. So before this episode, I was actually figuring, okay, should I talk to you about your family's history? Should I talk to you about economics? Should I talk to you about your day-to-day life? I don't know what I should talk to you about. But in saying that, we've never done an economic-centric episode on the show. So I think that's why we'll dive deeper. How do you explain economics to a 4-year-old?
Well, it's about a 4-year-old, maybe a bit too young.
Okay.
But I think somewhere around about 10-year-old, I could explain it. That look, there is a limited amount of resources on this planet. And how do you make sure that it gets used in a way that makes as many people as possible prosperous and that we can all have a good life and incorporate new technologies and make progress. Okay. So how do you arrange all of that is what economics is about.
Okay. What do you mean by resources?
Resources means, there's only so much food to eat. There's only so much industrial production. There's natural resources of various kinds, minerals, water, etc. So how do you make sure that you take all these resources and make sure that they are distributed in the best possible way? And so part of it can be done by government, part of it can be done by markets, and so on and so forth. And how this arrangement works is economics.
Okay. All right. What's a day in your life like? Like, what do you do right now for people who have no clue about what you do specifically with the government? Can you explain your job to them?
Sure. I am an economic advisor to Prime Minister Modi. So, obviously that's about providing economic advice to how to, as I said, run the economy and so on. But since you asked about how my day works, let me say there is no pattern at all in it because I travel quite a lot. Right now I'm in Mumbai, but I live in Delhi. Next week I am in New York for a conference in Columbia University. So there's a lot of traveling. Then, as you can imagine, this is a job which is very prone to crises of various kinds. So, you have COVID shock. So suddenly there's a lot of work related to that, which you never imagined. You sort of got swayed off into a different direction. Then there is G20 and these kinds of things that turn up. So it's very choppy. There will be days when I really work very hard. And then there are times where hopefully a little bit slower. Okay. And so, and in the middle of all that, I'm attempting to write a book and do other things as well. So I'm one of those people who you have to be very disciplined with this because you have to keep things moving without there being any pattern in your otherwise in the life. So it's not like, some people say, I like writing a book at, I have 2 hours designated every day to write. I have no such thing. I mean, all my books have been written. The chapters have been written, in one long weekend I got free and I wrote one whole chapter in that. Like I worked 16 hours. 3 days flat and finish the chapter because that's literally the only way I can do it.
How did you get to this point of actually becoming an advisor for the government? Like you would have definitely studied a lot, done a lot, and then I'm assuming you would have been cherry picked in some form.
So I studied economics first at Delhi University, then at Oxford University. Then I became a financial markets guy for about 22 years. So I was an economist, so I'm not. When I'm saying I'm working in financial markets, I don't mean that I'm a mainline guy who gives out loans or something like that. No, I'm not a banker in that sense. I was an economist, and my job was really to just look at how interest rates are moving, exchange rates were moving, sovereign credit risk, equity markets, liquidity, things like that.
You'll have to explain what these things mean to like school-going audiences.
Fine. You know about the share market?
Yeah.
You know about exchange rate, rupee, dollar rates, etc.
Yes.
So my job was try and guess, roughly speaking, what's happening in these markets and essentially help my team to make bets on that.